never quit attitude. That you can always win. You just might lose 10 times before you win.
Yeah.
But like, there's always a way. There's always a way. And you know, when I got home, I didn't know business. I knew leadership. I knew hard work. I knew commitment, drive. I didn't know business.
Hey everybody, Casey Maxted from Warrior Rising. Welcome to another episode of the Warrior Rising podcast. It's June 7th, 2025, and we're here in Normandy, France for the 81st anniversary of D-Day. We brought a pretty special group of people here with us on this trip. It's been an incredible experience, and I'm here today with my good friend from Iowa as well, Tyler Grout. And we're going to talk a little bit about Tyler's background today, his military service, his transition from military into the business world, and then our experience here in France. So Tyler, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it, bud.
Thanks for having me.
So let's go back to the start here. So you grew up in Iowa, East Central Iowa, if I'm not mistaken.
Southeast Iowa.
Southeast Iowa. Where'd you go to high school?
I went to Mid Prairie High School.
All right.
Which is just south of Iowa City. Down by Kelowna.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
My childhood was interesting. Not the best child growing up. I didn't really have direction. I mean, my parents were great parents. Did everything they could, but they told me to go one direction, I went the next.
Yeah.
The opposite. So
that sounds about right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know your family pretty well. Over the last few years, I've gotten to know you. Great family, huge supporters of Warrior Rising, own Brenneman Pork, and have really gotten behind Warrior Rising over the last several years. I also know all of you to be great family people. You've got 4 children, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one playing baseball at the University of Iowa. We have boys the same age that compete in baseball, great athletes. Were you an athlete growing up as well?
I was.
Yeah.
I love sports. Played baseball was probably my favorite. Played football, basketball, but I was nowhere near the caliber these kids are today.
Yeah.
Like, these kids, they put in so much work. It's unbelievable.
They sure do. In fact, our sons were supposed to play against each other while we were here. Our game got postponed due to rain, but I know that they were all looking forward to that game.
Yeah.
A lot of pretty good young baseball players in that group. So, you joined the Iowa National Guard after high school, right?
Correct.
What motivated you to join and serve your country?
Well, so I was 16 when 9/11 happened. 16-year-old kid, 9/11 happened. I remember exactly where I was, in school when that happened. And it just like floored me. I was like, I need to do something. 2 months, I turned 17 after that. And I was like, get me in the fight, me being a 16, 17-year-old kid, like, I didn't know. I just wanted to do. I just wanted to do something. And so, with the parents' waiver, they signed the waiver, got me in, went and joined the 34th Infantry Division, and became a combat engineer sapper.
Nice.
So I actually did my basic training my junior year, came back after my senior year, did AIT, and then right away, my unit was getting deployed to Afghanistan. I went to them and I'm like, I want in. And they're like, basically, no, you're too green. I'm like, okay, because I was just out of training. So every day I kept going to them and wanted in the fight, wanted to get on the list, and they just kept telling me no. And I'm like, I didn't do this or push the training or speed it up for nothing. I wanted to go. And I mean, you know what that's like. I mean, when you want to get in the fight or you want to feel like you're making a difference, it's hard for someone to pull the reins and keep you back.
Right.
So finally, they're like, no, we're going to Iraq in 9 months. You're going to be on that deployment. I'm like, Okay, no, I'm going to Afghanistan.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyways, there was this E7 in the office that was looking out for me, and he got me on a task force with the 168 as a combat engineer sapper with an infantry element. 35-man task force that went over and provided support in Afghanistan for a lot of the active duty guys. And so it was a pretty cool deployment.
Okay. So there's that 2003, 4?
That was 2004.
2004. Okay.
Yep.
And how long was your deployment? Your first deployment?
Um, it was just over a year.
Okay.
So it was 04, 05, 366 days.
Okay. And then what happened? So you came back after that? Did you continue your service in an Iowa National Guard or?
Yeah, so when I got back from my deployment, I yeah, I was in the guard. I stayed in the guard for a little while, but things weren't the same for me. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think my deployment maybe, you know, messed with me a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up moving on
Yeah.
and got out and yeah.
And how old are you at this point?
Um I was probably 20,
Okay.
21.
And you are married now to your high school sweetheart, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, right? So you
Yeah.
go home, you're young 20-year-old guy. You're already in a relationship with your wife to be, right?
Yeah, right.
So a lot of what we do at Warrior Rising is, we're helping veterans find purpose again after their service, and find that passion, that purpose again in their life, and take all the skills that they've learned as a soldier, an airman, marine, and transfer those over to being a business owner. When you came back from your deployment and transitioned from service to civilian life, did you have a plan? What was kind of your goal at that point?
I had zero goals, zero plan. I mean, I was flying by the seat of my pants. I had a newborn in Carson,
Mm-hmm.
freshly married, and honestly, like I didn't know what to do. I, we'll get deep here. I wasn't taking care of them like I should. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, my mind was a little messed up. Um, Probably drinking too much, doing too many things that I shouldn't, and didn't give a crap that I was married and didn't give a crap that I had a newborn. And my father-in-law called me. He's like, "You better figure your crap out."
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "I don't raise failures." And me being a veteran
Mm-hmm.
and a combat veteran who, you know, my deployment wasn't easy. It was rough. Um, I took offense to that. But then I started thinking about it from his perspective, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm a failure right now. Like I better figure my crap out." And so I ended up having the opportunity to go, once I figured my stuff out and was doing some things and motivated and working and all that and taking care of the family, I went to him and basically said, "I want to buy into this business." And so he gave me the opportunity to buy in.
Mm-hmm.
And man, then I was off.
And
Like,
tell us a little bit about that business too, because it's an incredible business,
yeah,
especially, growing up in Iowa myself, grandpa being a farmer, dad being a farmer, family farm until the day my grandpa died. I know how important farming is to people in the Midwest, in Iowa especially. And I know that these are important businesses. Tell us about your business, because your guys' business is kind of like a shining star, so to speak, in the state of Iowa and throughout the Midwest. So tell us a
yeah.
little bit about Brenneman Pork.
So Brenneman Pork, Rob started this when he was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember exactly how many sows he had, if it was 20 or 25. He could tell you the exact number, but he started in high school and just kind of kept growing
Mm-hmm.
and growing and growing. And today, 55,000 sows, finish off, sell 1.6 million pigs a year.
It's
Um,
incredible.
and all the families are involved. So Rob and Shar have 4 children,
Mm-hmm.
Tim, Jenna, Amy and Carrie and all their spouses, and then the grandkids, and we're all involved. It's a family operation. We're all owners, and we all contribute. And so within that, so like I own businesses on the side. Every family kind of owned businesses on the side, but all with Brenneman Pork has provided that opportunity for us to own all these businesses outside of it, which then help the nucleus of Brenneman Pork.
Right.
And so it's just become a snowball. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
Family and business is not easy, but it's working.
Being a pig farmer is not easy. Being a family-owned pig farmer is probably even more difficult. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, like, what are some of the experiences that you got from military service, just being around the military, veterans, your teammates, maybe people who had an impact on you while you were in the service? What are some of the things that you took from your service and translated over to the business world?
Never quit attitude.
Mm-hmm.
That you can always win. You just might lose 10 times before you win.
Yeah.
But like there's always a way.
Mm-hmm.
There's always a way. And when I got home, I didn't know business. I didn't know, I knew leadership. I knew hard work. I knew commitment, drive. I didn't know business.
Yep.
And Rob taught me business. Getting thrown into the fire with business taught me business. I failed a lot, but I just kept pushing.
Right.
And eventually you come out on top, and tomorrow I guess I could lose it all.
Yeah.
Because we never know, but I'm going to be okay because I'll just keep fighting.
Absolutely. And you said something earlier that kind of struck me a little bit when you were talking about how your father-in-law called you and talked about not raising failures, and you were in that transition period from service to civilian life again. And one thing that we always tell the veterans coming into the Warrior Rising at, this is a hand up, it's not a handout.
Right.
And I see a lot of vets fall into the trap of looking for the handout.
Right.
Hate to say it, I know some people will probably get a little upset with me saying it, but hey, that you owe me something attitude.
Yeah.
Nobody owes you anything. Maybe an opportunity. But once you have that opportunity, you have to work every day with the relentless pursuit that you worked with in the military. And I think that's kind of what separates the successful businesses from businesses that kind of fall by the wayside.
Right.
So can you relate to that? I mean, is that something that you see as well?
100%. Like I definitely had that attitude. I went from, doing nothing in my life to going over, serving a combat tour, and then thinking that I was something. Somebody owed me something. And there's a lot of people who like go through that and they never get out of it, which is unfortunate. But nobody owes you anything.
Yeah.
That's something I wanted to do. It's something I signed up to do. And so, nobody owes you anything. Now, if you're blessed to have the opportunity to buy into a business and then start businesses and have mentors guide you, like what Warrior Rising does, man, you take a hold of that and like you run with it.
Right.
And you use that guidance. And today, Rob may have been my first mentor in business, but I look to you. I look to people all over that are business owners, and it's like you use them. Just like you probably have mentors or people that you use as tools to further yourself. And that's what it is. Surround yourself with good people that you aspire to be.
Yep.
And level up.
Absolutely. That's one of my things I've tried to do in my businesses too, is I always try to surround myself with people who are way better than me, who are strong in the areas that I'm not strong in. And I try to learn from them and learn as much as I can from them and just keep building that team nucleus, that foundation to propel your business forward. Tell me a little bit more about Brenneman Pork. Like, where's Brenneman Pork going? What's the future look like at Brenneman Pork?
The future is bright. We, like I said, there's 4 families with Rob and Shar, and then 4 families with, I don't know how many grandkids, man, but there's a lot. I have 4 children. Tim has 2 children. Kyle and Amy have 3, I think. Sorry, Kyle. Maybe 4, 3, and then Nate and Carrie have 3.
So pigs aren't the only thing reproducing in the Brenneman family.
Yeah, no. I mean, maybe now everybody's done,
Yeah.
but we'll see. But there's so many people involved and so many opportunities within that place. So, there's 250 employees. We're in Missouri, Iowa, Illinois,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we're just
And
very,
1.6 million hogs a year is what you said?
yeah,
That is insane.
yeah,
That's a lot.
yeah. It's crazy.
That's a large operation. So,
Yeah,
um, I met you a few years ago, and Brenneman Pork really got behind Warrior Rising in our IO event. Tell me what supporting veterans and specifically an organization like Warrior Rising, uh, what's that mean to Brenneman Pork, and what's the purpose behind it for you guys? Because it was fun this year. We recognized you guys at our Iowa event as our sponsor of the year. And this is where I realized how big the family was, because we had you all up on stage, and the stage almost wasn't big enough.
that was half of them.
It's definitely a family affair there, and love to see that. Um, but we really feel you guys behind us. We feel like you guys have our backs,
Yeah,
and you always show up. And I've got you over here in Normandy, France now. So
yeah,
you guys have really stepped up big time for us, and it means a lot. So tell me what it means to you guys.
yeah. So, we for me, once I became a business owner and I could actually turn and say, who can I help now?
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for veteran organizations or veteran ran organizations or organizations that just help vets. And there's a lot of them out there that probably do a lot of really, really, really good things, and they're all needed. But Warrior Rising hit home with me because, I mean, that was me. Like, I was a guy that maybe had a dream to run a business, didn't know how. I didn't use Warrior Rising, I used my father in law,
Mm-hmm.
but it empowered me. He empowered me. And veterans are meant to be entrepreneurs. They're meant to run businesses. They can take what they've learned in the military, apply it to business, and they will be some of the most successful business owners around because of their mentality. And so, I thought when I heard about Warrior Rising, I'm like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's the one. Like that's who I want to help and support. And so I went and talked to the family, and they're like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's, if we can help veterans start their businesses and fulfill their dreams, like, why wouldn't you want to be a part of that?
Yeah, and you guys certainly are a part of that. And I mean, you guys have stepped up in so many different ways, whether it be financial, like contributions to the organization. Every year in Iowa, you guys are donating hogs to feed our guests or our
Yeah.
veterans during our range days, or our major events, and it's been spectacular. And you guys have partnered up with a local barbecue guy, TC Bones, out of Iowa City, North Liberty area, and that's been one of the fun parts too, because people they really enjoy that. It really is great product, great barbecue,
Yeah.
and it's just added something, another level to the event. And then we take it a step further, and so this year, just to give us a little background on why we're here. So last November, I met a World War II veteran at a local football game, and was like, "Hey man, like I'm going to France next summer for the 81st anniversary of D-Day. I would love to bring you along." And not only did we bring him along, Don went out and did a tandem jump with us the other day, jumped
Hmm.
into Normandy, and you jumped as well. Um, about a month ago, we had an event in Iowa, and one of our items that we auctioned off was the opportunity to jump into Normandy for the 82nd anniversary next year, and you won that prize. And I said, "Hey man, why don't you just get down to Florida and go with us now?" So within about a 2 week span, you won a prize, went down and did 5 jumps, And not only did you do your 5 jumps down in Florida, one of your static line jumps was from above 5,000 feet,
Right.
which made me kind of laugh. And then a week later, here we are in Normandy, France, celebrating the 81st anniversary of D-Day. It's been super impactful experience to me. Tell me about your thoughts. What do you think about this? I mean, it's kind of overwhelming, but man, I mean, this is something I'll never forget. So, what do you think about this week? What's it meant to you?
Man, Casey, we it's about doing something, greater than yourself, right? Like this me jumping or us jumping, being a part of the Warrior Rising team and coming over here and doing this is so cool. Um I can't put into words like what it actually means
Mm-hmm.
because it's so far out there. Like, you know, exiting that aircraft yesterday or the day before, exiting the aircraft, um, we you don't even think about it. Like going through my mind, I thought about the guys, the kids who did it 81 years ago, the whole time
Mm-hmm.
coming to the ground, and I thought, what a surreal experience. They did it at night. They did it, jumping into a hostile area, and we did it like just cruising, easy
Jumping
peasy,
into fanfare.
fanfare, and so it's not the same because so it's hard to put words, but it's just like anything I could do to help honor their legacy.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's awesome.
Yeah, that's really what it's all about for me too. And I mean, it's mind blowing to stand on the beaches and imagine you look at this place and it's so beautiful. It's hard to imagine it in a conflict, in a wartime conflict,
Right.
and a lot of it's still the same. You can still see the scars from World War II throughout Normandy, but it's such a beautiful place, and the reception that they give the Americans and especially the World War II veterans that are still here. There's a few. There's not many,
Yeah.
but there's a few. Has just been incredibly impactful. And I kind of find myself asking the question, like, why are we not doing this in the United States? Like, how is there not? Why are we not setting aside a day for the veterans of World War II on D-Day or around D-Day, celebrating their sacrifice and bravery for this significant period of history?
Right.
And that's something that I kind of am inspired to get going with some other veterans and stuff like that. Um, but to your point, flying into the drop zone on a plane that carried paratroopers during D-Day, listening to the engines, they sound different than what we're used to as paratroopers, modern day paratroopers. The sound of the engine, you look out into the fields and it looks the same, and I can't put it into words, I don't think. And
No.
and to do it with friends, people that you care about, people that I went through the service with, people that I work with, and friends like yourself made it even more
Yeah.
special. And then you throw Don in the mix, and it
Yeah.
adds a whole nother layer to it. And we'll talk to Don later today, but I don't think I'll ever forget this experience that we had here in Normandy. And I hope, you know, I think maybe there's probably 10 to 15 World War II veterans here in Normandy this year.
Yeah.
And next year there may be none. And I
Right.
hope that this continues in their honor for years to come because it's important. Um, and the love you feel from the people of France has just been incredible. So,
Yeah. Yeah. It's this experience, like you said, it's hard to put words on it, but you know, I I think about, we talked a little bit about who you're jumping for, why you're jumping, why you're coming over here, who you're honoring, and it's every one of them.
mm-hmm,
Every one of them. But, in my mind, I was thinking about that before we came, and it's, there's a book called We Lucky Few. Larry Cuddeback wrote this book, and it honors 100. There's 112 World War II vets from Washington County, Iowa,
mm-hmm,
or Southeast Iowa, and their stories in that book. And he did interviews with every single one of them. And, names like Kenneth Koss and many others that you just, it's for all those guys. It's for Don Poole. It's
Mm-hmm.
for your grandpa. It's
Mm-hmm.
for every one of them.
Yeah,
And when you're up in that plane and you're getting ready to jump out, it's pretty easy to jump.
it
It's
is.
it's pretty easy to let go and just go when
Yeah,
you know it's for all those guys.
absolutely. I had the same experience. It was probably the most relaxing jump I've ever had because it felt like you were. It wasn't me jumping. You were representing something
Yeah,
else when you were exiting that aircraft. And it was interesting. I had a conversation with Don yesterday, and I was telling him about my grandfathers, and I'll talk about this with Don too. But I wish that I could have brought my grandfathers on this and had that experience with them. They're gone. They're no longer here. Don said something that was pretty impactful. He was telling me, "This guy, I'm not here for myself. I'm here for my generation. I'm here for my brother who was on Utah Beach. I'm here for your grandfathers." And that meant a lot to me because it really kind of connected me in a different way with my grandfathers. And I felt like, yeah, man, if they're looking down, they're certainly proud of this moment in time in my life, bringing one of the guys from their generation over and honoring them, and in effect honoring their entire generation of servicemen and women. And it was super impactful, and I really appreciated that moment. And growing up in Iowa like you did, I remember being a kid and all the parades, and you would see these guys. They were very involved in community, VFW, American Legion. That generation was heavily involved in that. And you'd see them walking in parades with their hats on and stuff like that. And I always looked at them in awe, but I never asked the stories. And I guess
right.
my only regret now is that, excuse me, I started asking for these stories maybe a little too late. I wish I would have started
Right.
doing this a decade ago, 2 decades ago when I was in the service, and maybe focused a little bit more on it rather than being wrapped up in my own stuff because this is so important,
Yeah.
and this literally might be the last year that we can like grasp these guys. So it's a lesson learned for me to where now I'm hitting up my buddies from Vietnam and I'm asking everything,
Yeah.
probably driving them completely crazy with all my questions, but it's important.
Very
And I think
important.
they appreciate that. And it's important that we know their stories because I was going to ask you what one of your most, like, what really stuck out to you about this experience so far. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was when we did the ring ceremony this week and we were telling stories about the veteran that's engraved on the inside of the ring. Because to me, as it goes, nobody really dies until you stop saying their name, until you stop telling their stories. And when we went around and shared the stories, and when I got to tell a story about a couple of guys who had an impact on my life from my community, to me that really stuck out as like one of the most impactful moments of this experience so far. Because though my friend Asher Schrader from Makokata passed away a few years ago, I got to tell his story about landing on Utah Beach, about being taken prisoner of war in the Hercham Forest, escaping in his liberation day, losing his father on the same day, neither one of them knowing, his dad never knowing that his son escaped, being a POW, him never knowing that his dad had passed away of cancer, and then the great life that he went on to live after service.
Mhm.
And sharing that story with people who have never heard that story, it means something and it keeps his memory alive. And that's really what this is all about. And that's why we need to keep telling the stories. So, how
100%.
about you? Is there anything for you that really stuck out on this trip so far that had an impact?
Man, it's all had an impact. We're on hollow ground here everywhere you go.
Yeah.
And it's hard to think because this place is so beautiful right now. But coming into Normandy, it's like taking a step back in time
Mm.
for me anyways. Like there's no advanced technology anywhere. Like it's just still the old school houses and the hedgerows and the um, some cattle and sheep and
Yeah.
narrow roads and it just it's beautiful. But um, you know, we went and visited Omaha Beach. We went and visited the Normandy uh, cemetery, um, and then the ring ceremony, and I guess all of it has had a huge, profound impact on me. I mean that I can't even put words on. It's going to take me a while to process.
Yeah.
Um, being a part of this team, Warrior Rising, has been huge for me, you know, and in this area, in this place with you guys has been huge. And yeah, you know, James getting us these rings, making us these rings, like that's huge. Listening to your stories. Um, you know, I have World War II veterans of Southeast Iowa engraved on mine.
Mm-hmm.
And because, like you said, you know, the parades, growing up as a kid in a small town, dad taking me to the AMVETS or the VFW, and dad saying, whispering in my ear, those are the heroes.
Mm-hmm.
And me thinking, huh? You know? And as I'm 40 years old now, thinking, why didn't I go talk to them? Why didn't I go learn their stories, you know, back then?
Yeah.
But this whole thing, man,
Yeah.
has been great.
It's really been great. And I mean, from the moment we got on the plane, we had a couple other World War II veterans on our plane, and we sat and talked with them. And they're sharp as a tack, a lot of these guys. And in fact, when we were all waiting to board our aircraft at Cherbourg for our jump, a couple of World War II veterans walked through the terminal and went up and shook their hands. And one of them's name was Jack. He's 103 years old and was a World War II vet and a Vietnam vet. And as soon as he found out I was from Iowa and he's from Wisconsin, he starts giving me crap about the University of the Iowa football team. I mean, these guys are with it and they're ready to yuck it up. So it's been incredible all the way around. And, you know, I really appreciate you being a part of it. I appreciate Brenneman Pork's support of Warrior Rising. It's been really impactful in helping us get veterans on their feet, becoming successful business owners, and I hope that's something that we can continue into the future. Obviously, we've developed great friendships out of this, which is very important to me. And I'm just thrilled that I got to share this experience with you, going out the door and jumping into Normandy together. So, man, this has been incredible. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we'll keep this going. We'll come back next year and do it again, and keep remembering and honoring the veterans of the past. So, with that being said, if you're a veteran out there, you know, and you're looking for that purpose in life, you're looking to get back on your feet after serving, come to Warrior Rising. Check us out at warriorrising.org. Check us out on social media and take that first step. We're here for you guys. The network is in place, and the impact we're having is incredible, and we want you to be a part of that journey. We want to be a part of your journey in finding purpose again after service through business ownership. Thank you for joining us today from Normandy, France.